All right, we are here unadvised here on the Sports Animal YouTube, Facebook, and the Unadvised X account as well. I am Preston Poole alongside Tyler Adams. Teabag here. We're live. Basketball has started. I'm sitting here. I'm watching the Celtics take on the Knicks right now. Celtics still pretty good, huh? Teabag. They're up 38-20 right now in the first quarter. So
yeah, make that 40-20. They just scored again.
yeah.
The Celtics are really good. I'm gonna go ahead and just pencil them in for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Hell, I might even say finals.
Yeah, probably even just the finals. Now watch the Knicks come back and win this game. It's still the first quarter.
Yeah. Now I do think this will be like the Eastern Conference Finals matchup here, the Knicks and the Celtics. But we'll save all that talk for tomorrow. That'll be our NBA preview. Tomorrow we'll pick, who we think's going to win, award winners, stuff like that. We'll do all that tomorrow here on the podcast. Same time, 7 p.m. Same location on X, YouTube, and Facebook. But tonight we're going to get into a little football. We're going to start with some college football coming up this week. I'll go out and say not as good a week as the last month we've had so far in college football, but that just means that it's going to be hectic again, probably. Now that I'm coming out and saying that.
The last time we said this, Preston, was the week that Vanderbilt beat Alabama and all that mayhem that weekend entailed. So, I'm still very much excited for the football. I don't know which game to be excited for, but I know that there's going to be mayhem somewhere that we're going to seek out.
100%.
And I know about two games not to be excited to.
Yeah, and we're going to start off with those two games. We'll get into that. Someone says, I heard a fart. No, that's just my terrible computer chair. I would own up to it. Trust me. Let's get into Oklahoma at number 18, Ole Miss. Ole Miss, 20-point favorite in this ball game. I will venture out to say that Oklahoma has about a 0% chance to win this ball game Saturday at Ole Miss.
Do you know the last time OU was the 20-point underdog?
Probably sometime in the 90s, I would guess.
I was -2 years old.
1997.
97.
I would have been going on 2 years old at that time. So, that's not good. That is not good. They're a 20-point favorite. Like I said, I would be almost shocked if the Sooners kept it within that 20 on Saturday. But we'll see. Anything can happen, right? It's going to be the first game calling plays for Jojon Finley. I'm already blanking on the new quarterback's coach. Was it Kevin Johns, I believe?
Kevin Johns, yeah.
Will be the new quarterback coach, if you will, for the Sooners. So it's going to be an interesting game in the fact of what they do on offense, because are they going to stick with kind of the same offense that Luttrell was running, or are they going to kind of go back to the Jeff Lebby offense? I'm surely it's going to be a mix of both, because I don't think you can just straight up flip to a different offense mid-season. I don't think that's something that you can do.
Yeah,
exactly. So, we'll see how this game shakes out, but I'm definitely going to have my eye on the play calling for the Sooners this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm going to be shocked if OU keeps this within 20. One of the things that's definitely not in the Sooners' favor is Ole Miss is coming off a bye week.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss is still but they're still very much alive for the playoffs.
Oh, no, they lost to LSU last week.
Yeah, but I mean, if they go 10-2 and beat Georgia and Alabama, they're going to get in my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't know if they're that good of a team.
They may not be, but 10-2 in the SEC, beating Georgia, beating
Alabama. By the way, I don't think they will beat Georgia. I will go out.
I don't think they will either. But going into Saturday, they do have hope that they can. And even if they miss a playoff, there is hope they can make the playoffs still. Like that is true. They have hope they can make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they're going to come out with their hair on fire off a bye week. They're not going to mess around and keep this game close, in my opinion. They're going to come out. They're going to assert dominance. Their defense is pretty good. Their offense has struggled, so I think OU's defense could take advantage of that a little. But, again, OU's offense is just so bad. I don't think it's really going to matter. And, Preston, we see it with the in the NFL a lot, and you'll see it in college a little sometimes too. But college relies so much on talent that you have on your team. Everyone in the NFL is
Yeah.
talented to at least an NFL talent degree. Obviously, more than others, some more than others. You see a coaching, head coaching bump, or interim head coach bump, or a new coach change, or play calling change.
Yeah.
You'll see where the team comes, plays a little bit better. I don't think we're going to see that with this team because I think the offensive line is just simply that bad that it's not going to matter if you had
Yeah.
Andy Reid calling the plays.
No, 100%. Like, just changing the offensive coordinator and who calls plays isn't going to fix the pass protection or the run blocking for the Oklahoma Sooners. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting. I sit back and you look at it and you're like, how did they get to this situation for Oklahoma? It's just bad. It's just flat out bad. And I would venture to say, I think I said it on Saturday or Sunday. The only game they're going to win is Maine the rest of the season. I feel pretty confident in saying that.
Yeah. I mean, could they get one more win out of nowhere somehow, some way, just because this college football season has been crazy and stuff? Sure, I'm not going to rule that out, but I would not put money on it. That's for sure.
It's right
That's for
now
sure. I
they're
would not
just
put money on
playing.
it.
They're going to be playing the spoilers the rest of the season. That's all that they're going to be doing, and they're probably not going to do a good. I know they're not going to do a good job at it.
Like, I think maybe they could beat Mizzou. Maybe.
Yeah.
Just because I think it could be like an Auburn situation. Missouri's obviously better than Auburn. I mean, they just beat Auburn barely at home, but they are better than Auburn. Just beat them. So maybe that could be kind of a similar situation where maybe the offense can find one or two plays to get some points on the board, and
Yeah.
the defense can get a turnover for a touchdown or something, and you can find a win that game 21-20 or something like that. But outside, that's a very big outside chance, and I just don't see it happening. I think. Actually, I'm not going to say that. I don't think this defense is going to quit. I think this defense, led by guys like Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, Trace Ford, the seniors on the team, I don't think they're going to quit, but they might throw in the towel a little bit more week by week. But I mean, to their credit, they're still fighting their ass off when they have, it could be very easy for them to
Yeah.
skip up.
No, Danny Stutzman played great against South Carolina. He made some
Trace Ford
great
played
plays.
great.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, the give a damn is still there for the defense. Now, just need to figure out something on offense. And by the way, did you see this or hear this? I should say, from Brent Venables' coach's show Monday night, saying that he expects all the injured wide receivers to be back next year.
That'd be big.
Do you believe that, or you think that's just kind of throwing some bait out there to improve morale?
I think the majority will be back. I mean, I can
Yeah.
see a guy like Nick Anderson maybe going to the NFL or something.
But my thing with that is he only has one season of tape out there on him.
Yeah.
Right. And is
fair.
that good? Yeah. Is that good enough to get you drafted
Maybe
in
not.
the NFL?
I mean, and then maybe like a guy like Joel Farouk or something could enter the portal. If he thinks he can change the scenery. But I don't think Britt would say that if he wasn't confident that at least maybe 3 of those 4 are coming back.
Yeah. And you think about it, it's like guys like Deion Burks who ends up getting hurt, and definitely expected the offense to work a lot better than what it did. Because his eyes were set on coming to Oklahoma for one season and then bolting to the NFL, and now it's like, well, you've gotten hurt, and the stuff you put on tape really, isn't going to get you drafted, right? So he's going to have to either come back or transfer. So yeah, look, if they can get 3 out of those 5 guys back next year, I think that's a win for them as far as wide receivers go. So we'll see. I just thought that was interesting from his coach's show, and then his presser today. I don't know, is beat down, humbled, something like that? Are those the right terms to describe Brent Venables today?
So I never listened to the Brent Venables press conference on Tuesday because I edit the whole thing on Wednesday mornings.
Yeah.
So I'll hear it tomorrow for the first time. But so I haven't heard, so I can't say, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was definitely not a amped up Brent Venables.
Yeah. That's kind of the terms I've heard thrown around for it. So we'll see. I just saw quotes because I was working whenever it was on, so I didn't get a chance to listen. But All right, so are you how bad are you picking Ole Miss to win this one?
35. I'll give them 13. I'll give OU 13
35 to
points.
13. It's gonna be hard getting 13 when all you can do is kick field goals. So
Yeah, well, they might get a touchdown.
yeah, I guess they did get a
They got a
touchdown
touchdown
last
last
week.
week.
Yeah, they did. They did. You know what? I'll take 42 to 14. Ole Miss. I just don't think it's gonna be a close game at all. So all right, let's move on to Oklahoma State at Baylor. This is kind of shocking here that Baylor is a 7-point favorite at home. Baylor is not good. Oklahoma State is not good, but at least they showed some stuff on offense last week against BYU to where you're like, okay, maybe that they can have some type of offense going forward the rest of this season. So I kind of figured that this would be like an Oklahoma State -1.5 type of line, but
Yeah,
to see it -7 for Baylor is kind of intriguing for me.
I think the defense for Oklahoma State is because OSU didn't. They had a standalone game against BYU. Now it's not like they had 8 million people watching that game, but they obviously had a lot of people watching that game. They probably Vegas probably focusing in on that game because there really wasn't a
Yeah.
whole lot, sports on TV at the time. And I think the Oklahoma State defense was just glaringly bad to anyone that watched that. So I think that could play into the point spread. I think Alan Bowman plays into this point spread, going, even though like I don't want to rip Alan Bowman too much until he deserves to get ripped again because he didn't lose OSU the game. Now, do I think if Rangel didn't stay hurt, OSU has a better chance to win that game? Sure. But Alan Bowman did not lose OSU that game by any stretch of the imagination on Saturday against BYU. It was purely the defense. But with Alan Bowman going back out there at quarterback, you have all the tape on him. Gundy implied that they're going to keep running a running quarterback in the offense, which Alan Bowman is like one of those hit or miss runners. Like for as unathletic as he can
Well,
make some
and
runs here and there.
that's not
But
even the scary part. The scary part, T-Bag. It's the scary part is that there's two true freshman quarterbacks that are behind him on the depth chart. So if you run
well,
Alan Bowman and he happens to get hurt, I mean, you can just kind of kiss the rest of the season goodbye.
one of the freshmen though is a 4-star, pretty highly recruited kid.
Hey, look,
So
we've seen all the stars in
could,
the world in Norman this season. That does not matter.
I'm not saying it matters. I'm just saying maybe there'll be some hope. The third string now is a true freshman walk on.
Okay,
So
yeah.
that's where
You
you
don't want to
really
get
lose
down to
hope.
him. Yeah.
That's where you really lose hope. I think with Malalaki, I think that's how you say Malalaki Smith. I think maybe he could provide something. I'm probably not, but maybe he could. You have the hope at least that he could.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson. He could end up being the next Brandon Whedon. Brandon Whedon was a walk on, but true freshman. I don't want to see that for sure. So this season or this game against Baylor, they played really well last week. They scored 59 on Texas Tech.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma State's going to have to score just like they did against BYU to stay in this game. And this game, Preston, is honestly the season. If you win this game, you still have hopes you can make a bowl game and keep that streak going. And if you lose this game, I think it's pretty safe to say that Oklahoma State would not be making a bowl game this season. They'd have to go 3-1 the rest of the way, which would be a tough task. So this game kind of is the season, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. It's going to be interesting to see how the team comes out. I don't think we're going to see any improvement whatsoever from the defense. In fact, I got a text today from a good person saying this defense is not getting fixed, brother. And so I have no faith in that whatsoever. Nick Martin and Colin Oliver are both out for this game. Trey Rucker has a chance to come back, and so does Dylan Smith. But just hopefully maybe that can improve the defense enough to where they can make one stop if they have to. That's really all you can ask for out of this defense. So I'll say this. If you think Oklahoma State's going to win, just parlay Oklahoma State money line in the over. If you think Oklahoma State's going to win, take the over as well.
Yeah, I think it was. Do you know what it is?
I haven't seen, but it could be 70 for all I care.
In front of me. Let me pull it up real quick. I just had it here. Right in front of me. It is. Where'd you go? Oklahoma, or excuse me, it's 65.5 is the total. So, big number there. Big number.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Oklahoma State's going to win, it's going to be just like the BYU score, something, a
Yeah.
35-38 game or something.
Yeah. By the way, Oklahoma State, the only defeated Big 12 team in the conference. So after Baylor and Kansas pick up wins last week, so got to get that crucial first win in the Big 12. Got to
This
get
fan base needs a win too, man. They just need a win, especially going into homecoming next week.
yeah.
Vibes haven't really usually been that low. Sorry, I always do this. I play with my Apple Watch and it turns up my sound on my phone because I'm watching the game. Vibes usually haven't been that low at homecoming before because Oklahoma State doesn't ever usually start this bad, and homecoming is also usually like a week or two earlier than it is this year.
Yeah.
It's the way the schedule lined up. They had to push it back, so this could be the most low vibes that America's Greatest has ever had.
Arizona State for homecoming, huh? That'll be an interesting one. That'll be interesting. Yeah,
Hot take, Preston. I have a hot take about the night game.
Yeah,
I think it means a emptier stadium.
Really?
I think because the reason I say that is students will show up. Students always show up for a night game. If you're at a football school now, if you're at a school that doesn't really care, it's different. But if you're at a football school, students are going to show up for a night game. Also, since it's homecoming, students always show up because they announce their awards and stuff at homecoming during the football game. So students actually will be sold out to the brim like it's Bedlam or Texas in town. When it comes to the average, just the non-student fan, I think it will affect attendance because just traveling for night games night games rock. Night games are the best, but it does make it more difficult because you get home late. It's everything about it just is a tad bit more complicated. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be the difference between 55,000 and 40,000, but I think it'd be the difference between 55,000 and 48,000 or something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my hot take on it because I'm going to go, but I'm like, do I really want to go?
Yeah.
No, I probably don't, but I'll end up going. So that's my hot take. I think the night game, when it's a bad team versus a decent team, is not going to really help the crowd all too much. It's not like it's a top 25 matchup at night.
Yeah. Darkest sky in the country though. Stillwater at night.
That is true.
And
extra hour at the bars at night too.
Yeah, that's true. That will be changing the clocks back that evening. Plus, you might have some Halloween costumes still because that'll be just a couple days after.
I don't know why they're not doing a blackout for this game.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
It's all black uniforms, blacked out stadium. Maybe they'll.
By the way, Oklahoma and Texas leave the Big 12 and they stop playing 11 a.m. games. I think every game like that next week is at like 2:30 or later. it's crazy how they do that. So we say all this stuff about Oklahoma State, and I absolutely love Oklahoma State +7 this week. That's all I will say. I could be wrong, but who knows?
I'm confident they'll keep it close. I'm not necessarily confident they'll win. I think they can win, but I'm confident they'll keep it close.
And I just completely lost my train of thought. I was looking at a tweet from Gideon Hamilton that I'll have to get a text message to him and say, don't be tweeting that stuff at me. But I need to get up to Stillwater for homecoming. I've never been up there for homecoming, so I need to get that done. So, all right, let's move on to some other college football games in the country. How about the number 12 Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on number 24 Navy? That game going to be at MetLife Stadium. Notre Dame, a 12.5-point favorite. Do you feel comfortable with Notre Dame as a 12.5-point favorite in this one?
No, I mean, I'm not going to be shocked if Navy blows or Notre Dame blows them out, but I would take Navy plus the points in this game. I think Navy and Army both are really good football teams, and I do think Notre Dame is going to win this game, but 12.5 is a lot of points.
Yeah.
It's not a home game, but, I mean, it's at MetLife Stadium, as you said, and it's not a home game, but it's going to be a predominantly Notre Dame crowd, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, I would take Navy in the points in this game, and I'm excited for this game. I'm excited for this game because this could be the start of a serious Army Navy could play after one of the
Yeah.
teams gets into the playoff against each other.
And they both play Notre Dame this year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
they
think
both
Army's in
beat
2
Notre
weeks, maybe.
Dame. Yeah, they both beat Notre Dame. They're both undefeated. They play each other twice in a row, back-to-back weeks. Yes, that could be absolutely awesome. Yeah, I look at that 12.5. I'm like, damn, Navy's a good football team this year. And Notre Dame obviously dropped that one early in the season to Northern Illinois, but they've bounced back well so far. But I would probably take Navy plus 12.5 as well in this one. I think that's too many points for a team like as good as Navy, which I know that they haven't played, the same caliber of opponents probably as Notre Dame, but I don't care. I still like Navy. All right, how
Yeah.
about number 20, Illinois going to Oregon to take on the Ducks, the number 1 Ducks. Oregon is a 21.5-point favorite in this one. These are the ranked matchups we get this week. We get Illinois at Oregon is our ranked matchups.
Yeah, and I this could be a lock of the week for me, Preston. Oregon minus 21.5. Illinois coming off one of their biggest wins in program history, or at least in recent program history last
Yeah.
week in Michigan. So they're riding high right now. And Oregon, they beat Purdue. Yeah, Purdue. They beat them 35-0. The game was never out, but it was definitely one of those games. Dan Lanning probably got on the fly. I was like, yes, because we won 35-0, played great, going to be the number 1 team. But I have a lot to mother F them on because they didn't look all of too amazing. So I think Oregon's going to seize this opportunity against a ranked opponent at home and blow the doors off them.
Yeah, I was watching that Oregon Purdue game during the OSU pregame on Friday of last week, and there were times where I'm like, dang, Oregon should really be putting up more points than what they are. I think they had it in goal to go, like I think probably from the 1 yard line, and it took them like 4 tries to score at one point. So yeah, but I'm definitely on the Ducks this week. I don't know about 21.5, but I do like the Ducks this week for sure. All right, how about number 21, Missouri at number 15, Alabama? Alabama is a 13.5-point favorite. When is the last time that we've said number 15, Alabama? Been a long time.
That's a good question.
Nick Saban's first year,
I
maybe?
remember like a number 12 Alabama or something.
Yeah.
I remember like Alabama be like number 12. I think 2 years ago in 2022 when they lost to LSU and Tennessee in 2 out of 3 weeks. But number 15, I think that's probably since Nick Saban's first year. I know they started. I know they got ranked pretty high and they kind of collapsed towards the end of the season in his first season. But Preston, this is the first time Alabama's had 2 losses going in or before November even hit since Nick Saban's first year. So 2 losses before. I mean, even OU hasn't done that. Think about how dominant OU. Even OU hasn't done that in the midst of their dominance with Bob Stoops and Lincoln Riley dominating Big-12. They even had 2 losses in 2016 and 2020 going into November. So that's just an unreal stat because Alabama, just play. Obviously, they've been this great dynasty and stuff, but they have, had a couple seasons where they've had 2 losses, but a lot of them came, in the Auburn game or the LSU game in November. So this game's intriguing because I don't think either of these teams are that good. I think they're good in the sense of they'll win 9 games, 8-9 games. And so they're good football teams, but I don't think that they're all too amazing. I'm going to stay away from the points this weekend on this game because I see a world where maybe just Alabama just isn't that good and Missouri can keep this close because I don't think Missouri is good. And I'm still hesitant on Alabama. So I'd stay away from the points on this one because Alabama, I could easily see them obviously, covering that spread, but I also see a world where they're just maybe not as good as we know Alabama is.
I look at this game and I think Alabama is probably going to beat the hell out of Missouri is the way that I look at this game. Now I do say that and reserve the right to be wrong. So I'll put that out there. I do reserve the right to be wrong on that take. Luther Burden has not played up to his potential this year for Missouri.
Yeah, that's Brady Cook.
Yeah, and they just who was it? UMass? Not UMass. It was Boston College. Went to Missouri, and Missouri squeaked that one out and won that one. Probably should have lost that game. And I just look at Alabama, and I'm like, I just think Alabama's the better team. I don't think Alabama's that much better than Missouri, but I think that they're better at quarterback slightly. Even Milrose taking a step back this season. So, and then I think at wide receiver, probably Alabama currently is better than Missouri. Plus that A&M Missouri game still is in the back of my head where Missouri just got their ass
Yeah,
kicked.
yeah.
So that
If I did
also,
have to, if I did have to make a pick, I would take Alabama.
yeah. So I'm gonna roll with Bama. I don't know about 13.5, but I'm feeling it that they're just gonna put a beat down
I think Alabama's
on
going
the
to win.
Tigers.
I don't see a world where Missouri wins.
I agree. All right, how about number 5, Texas? Oh, excuse my voice crack there. Number 5, Texas at number 25, Vanderbilt. Texas is an 18.5 point favorite. Vanderbilt has a chance to do the funniest thing ever in college football.
If Texas and now Vanderbilt, now it's different because Vanderbilt's actually a decent football team this year. But if Texas is known as a team that choked against Kansas a couple times and they go into the SEC and choke against Vanderbilt,
It'd be
it'd be all too good. This is an interesting game, Preston, because we talked about it. And when I say we, me and you did, and then just everyone's talking about like Texas. And up until Georgia, they haven't played anyone. Michigan's not any good. OU's not any good. Those are their two best opponents. And then they play a good opponent and kind of they played a lot better in the second half. And
Yeah.
I do think Texas could beat Georgia if they played again. But I think this is definitely a game that Vanderbilt could make some noise because I do think they're a pretty decent team. I love their quarterback. I like Vanderbilt a lot this year. And I think they're just going to go out there with I don't want to say the nothing to lose mantra because that's just like kind of whenever you pull out all the stops and stuff, but a nothing to lose mantra. And this is an interesting game, man, because I think Texas is going to win the game, especially coming off a loss, knowing that if they win out, that they could very well end up back in the SEC championship and if not, they're guaranteed in the playoff for sure at 11-1. But I think Vanderbilt could be a sneaky hungry dog this week.
Look, just like Nick Saban says, Vanderbilt's the hardest place to play in the SEC. No, I don't.
And they still have not completed their renovations in their stadium.
Yeah, they've got construction cranes all over the place.
Oh my gosh, it's been 2 years now. A&M completely renovated. They knocked down the side of Kyle Field and did it in one offseason. And
that's what ultra rich can get you. I don't know if Vanderbilt is ultra rich now.
Smart, they probably are. They probably are ultra rich if we're talking like just like alumni ratio, but their alumni probably just don't
care about football.
They're probably not the biggest football fans in the world.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. All right, how about number 8 LSU at number 14 Texas A&M? A&M a 2.5 point favorite. And that one at Kyle Field, obviously. So that'll be interesting. I mean, we've seen A&M play good against Missouri. Obviously, they've got one loss. They lost to who did they lose to early in the season? Notre Dame. They lost game 1. LSU obviously lost to USC game 1. So both of them only have one loss so far this season. Give me the Tigers. I think the Tigers go in and they beat up Texas A&M.
Man,
it's going to be close though. I think the 2.5 is a perfect number.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm leaning LSU right now, but A&M I think is a sneaky team, and I thought at the beginning of the year, I was like, I think A&M could be a pretty good team because I really like their coach, Mike Elko. He's kind of proving that he probably is the guy for that job. Just kind of get the BS out of there that they had to deal with Jimbo Fisher, and just kind of take those boosters out of the equation. Like, hey, we love you guys. We're going to treat you guys well, but when it comes to running the football program itself, like, please let
you guys have no clue what you're doing. Yeah,
yeah. Please let the smart people do that. And I think the boosters might have listened. Now, obviously, A&M could lose out, and I could be biting my words, but this is an interesting game, man, because I think this is a playoff elimination game. I think if the winner of this game, I think is in a driver. I mean, if A&M wins this game, they're in a driver's seat to make the SEC championship. So they'll be undefeated in conference play still.
Yeah.
So this is a great, like, I'm very excited for the game. This game. This is a game I definitely have circled for the weekend. Going to be very interesting. LSU does have A&M's number since they joined the SEC. I think it's like 8-3 or something in LSU's favor. But those wins have started to come lately for the Aggies.
Yeah, they'll play at South Carolina next week. They take on New Mexico State at Auburn, and then that rivalry game versus Texas. That'll be in College Station. Look, there's just enough nut jobs in College Station to get the fan base rowdy as hell and ready to go. So it wouldn't shock me if A&M won, but I'm going to pick LSU to win a close one.
I'm leaning LSU right now as well.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some NFL. If I can click the right button here. Let's regretfully talk about the games that happened last night on Monday Night Football. We'll start with the Bucks. I put on here on our little prep sheet. Somehow the Bucks only lost by 10. I mean, there was like a 30-point game, I feel like, at one point, and they end up losing by 10. But I think they were real extreme losers, if you will, because they lose Chris Godwin for the rest of the season as he dislocated his ankle, and then Mike Evans, they lost him for at least until after their bye week. And it's one of those things where they're down 10, trying to drive down the field, 43 seconds left. That's when Godwin dislocates his ankle. It's like, there's 43 seconds left, man. You're down by 10. I could see if you're down by a field goal, obviously you're definitely still in the ball game at that point, but you're down 10 points with less than a minute to go. I don't think they had any timeouts or anything like that. And you still got your starters in, and you're trying to get down there to make it a 3-point game or a 2-point game, and you'll probably have 10 seconds maybe at best to do anything after the onside kick. It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, man, that was a bad night for Baker and the Bucks last night, losing those two guys. I mean, that probably just eliminates them from the playoffs going forward in the NFC race. NFC is so good right now, just kind of top to bottom, the better side of the two conferences.
Well, you say that, but there's so many wide receivers that are out on the trade market right now. Like, they could trade for someone, but
do they want to do that?
Yeah, I agree with that. They probably don't want to.
They could. I mean, if they want to make the playoffs and keep that going, I think they could. But hey, real quick, Cooper Kupp trade market.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
They've decided that it looks like they're gonna try and trade him. I need to go back and find this.
We're gonna need to put you in a insane asylum if he gives the Chiefs like a 3rd-round pick.
I would definitely need to be in a padded room with no sharp objects or anything like that, because that would be the end of me. And look, I would totally take him on the Chargers. Wouldn't even need to change his zip code or anything like that.
He doesn't have to move.
The issue is the Chargers already have an injury problem, so I'm not quite sure if you want to add another player that has chronic injury problems to the roster. So I don't know if that's something to do. I do like the Mike Williams reunion though in LA. I think I would like that. But yeah, I don't know about Cooper Kupp. What team? I mean, Steelers would be a team that I think are looking at him. Trying to think off the top of my head.
I don't think he's going to get traded.
Really? I mean, you think they're just putting this stuff out there to see kind of what the market is for him?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe he does, but that's going to lead to so many more questions with Matthew Stafford's future, because I still think he wants to play for a couple more years, but does he want to spend?
It's just I don't see Stafford playing past it. It does not look good there, man. And it could just be the wide receivers have been hurt, but he doesn't look like his old self. And I hate to say it because he's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. But.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm with you, but I think with the stats that he has, that he can become top 5 in a lot of things and I think with the way he's wired, I do think he's going to try to give it at least one more season. Like, I think he's going to be playing football again next year. But like I said, does he want to do that in LA? And also, if LA just wants to go into a total reboot and try to draft it, rebuild next year and then try to get one of the quarterbacks coming out, with Sean McVay still as your head coach.
Yeah. Imagine if we had Shedeur Sanders in LA with the Rams. That would be pretty crazy. I don't know if we've lost Teabag or not. He was having some internet problems. We'll take him off until we can get him back. The other game last night was the Cardinals and the Chargers. We got you back. Are you there? Can you hear us? Are you with us? Send an SOS. Teabag, if you can hear me, sign out and sign back in. I'll put you on whenever you come back. But the Chargers and the Cardinals last night. The Cardinals win that one on a last second field goal. Are you good? You there? Can you hear me?
Was that me or you frozen?
No, you.
Okay, yes, hello. I need to get. I told you my internet's dying on me, man. I got to get a Wi-Fi extender up here pronto. I'm gonna go get that tomorrow.
I was just getting ready to start talking about that Cardinals Chargers game last night, and the Cardinals win on a very last second field goal to just crush my hopes and dreams. My roommate actually went out to Florida this past week where you can bet on games, and he made some bets and won some money and said, whatever I win, I'm putting on the Chargers money line. And I was like, well, I don't know if you want to do that or not. He ended up doing it and obviously did not win any money. So, but this game for me, Teabag, just gave me flashbacks of Brandon Staley, where Justin Herbert would drive down the field. He'd either score a touchdown or, get him in field goal positions where they are able to knock through a field goal to take the lead late in the game, with around 2 or so minutes left in the game. And then the defense just crumbles and lets the other team drive down the field and score and win the game, which it sucks because then you have people saying that Justin Herbert can't do it, late in the games, which that's just not the case in my opinion. He's done it, many times. Obviously, there's been times where he's thrown interceptions, but even Patrick Mahomes has done that late in games before. So it's just it sucks that they bring in this new regime and the defense looks so good for a long period of time last night. But the final drive when they needed him the most, they just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, it's I think with the Chargers is they're a team that can win on any given Sunday, and they're a team that can just lose on any given Sunday. Like they can be anyone they could be anyone in the league, And like I'd probably say if they're ever underdogs, I'd probably take a plus points against anyone. But if they're favorites, it's also going to be kind of hard to bet on. They're just one of those teams.
Yeah, no, I completely. And then Jalen Reagor, who spent so many, I forget where he was last, but spent so much time on social media saying how he was the Bugatti parked next to the trailer home. How he just wasn't being used, sitting on a practice squad. What does he do on his first play? Teabag. He catches a 43-yard pass, gets down to the 3-yard line, and he fumbles the ball into the end zone, and the Cardinals recover it. And I just sit here and say, hey, bud, I think you're the issue, not the teams that you're playing on. You might be the issue because you suck.
Yeah, he has yet to pan out to do anything.
Yeah. And so we'll see. Greg Roman tried to make him wide receiver 1 last night after being on the practice squad for like a week, which was a very dumb idea.
Not a good idea.
I doubt he does that again. So that needs to be fixed. That's why I'm very into the Mike Williams coming back to the Chargers. To be their wide receiver 1, the Jets. So the Jets are talking about trading him, and I think they want like a 3rd or 4th round pick. And if I were the Chargers, I would pull the trigger immediately on that. So, all right, let's get into some of the games in the NFL coming up this week. The Eagles at the Bengals. The Bengals a 2.5-point favorite. The Bengals trying to get back on the postseason path, I guess you could say. They had a disastrous start to the season. Started 1-4. They're now 1-6. So they got to get something. I mean,
Bengals
no,
are
1-6. I'm sorry. I'm looking at. I saw the Bengals and then the Browns are there.
Yeah,
Bengals are 3-4. The Bengals are 3-4, so they're looking to get to 500 this week.
Preston, I think this could be, even though they're in different conferences, I think this could be kind of a loser leaves town game. I think if I think the Bengals lose, it's just going to be such a hard climb back up that hill.
Yeah.
To get things going, especially in that division with the Steelers and the Ravens. Obviously, the Browns are the Browns, but and then the Eagles, man, if they lose this game, it might be they won last week. They won convincingly last week, but it could be the end of Sirianni.
Yeah,
I think
which
he's a ticking time bomb right now.
I don't get it. They're 4-2, and they played a lot better last week. Philadelphia is its own different monster, so I get that part of it. But yeah, I think you have to beat the 3-4 Bengals. The Bengals 0-3 at home, Eagles 2-1 on the road. So I would like the Eagles, and I think the Eagles win that ball game. How about this one? The Falcons at the Buccaneers. Obviously, this one would have been a bigger game before what happened last night. Falcons right now a 2.5-point favorite. I I don't see any way that the Buccaneers can win this game. I think the
I
Falcons are just
agree.
too good.
I think that number's too low as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
I like
what
the Falcons a
probably
lot.
what 4.5 somewhere in there.
I would have guessed something like that. Now it is at Tampa Bay, so I mean, I guess it has a lot
Yeah.
to play with it. But I mean, Falcons did get blown out last week against Seattle, so maybe they're a little fool's gold. I also do think Seattle's a pretty good football team,
Oh yeah.
but I think the Falcons are gonna come back good this week and win.
I agree with you there. Yeah, they got beat down. They had to put
They need to win this game too
yeah.
to really assert themselves
Oh yeah.
in the NFC South.
Take a hold of that division for
Yeah,
sure. How about this a rematch of week 1 this season, the Colts at the Texans. The Texans a 6-point favorite in that one. The Texans dropped a close one in Green Bay last week. And I look for them to bounce back. I still think the Texans are a very good football team.
yeah, I do too. I think they're going to bounce back heavy, and this could be the game where they might decide that Joe Flacco should just be their guy going forward.
Yeah. I hope not, because I just traded for Anthony Richardson in a dynasty league. So I'll need him to keep playing good. Mainly just because I'm trying to get younger players. So but yeah, give me the Texans there. All right, how about the Bills at the Seahawks? I think this is sneaky a good game here. Two good teams.
For
Buffalo is a
sure.
3-point favorite in this one. The only thing that worries me about the Seahawks is that DK Metcalf is now week to week with a I think grade 1 MCL sprain. So I would venture out to say that he probably will not play in this ball game. If he does, then it'll be like a miracle almost that he's healed in less than a week from that sprained MCL. But I'll take the Bills in this one, but I think it's going to be like right at that number. I think it's going to be like a 3-point game.
I like the Seahawks in this game. I think the Seahawks are starting to hum right now. Bills are humming too. Don't get me wrong, but I think that crowd in Seattle could give them the boost in that game. So I kind of like Seattle in this game.
Yeah, I could see that going either way. All right, how
Give
about
me
the
a good
game?
afternoon slates. There's two really good games because we're about to talk about
Yes.
another one.
This one should have been the night game. I'll go out and say that. The Bears at the Commanders. I hope Jaden Daniels plays, because if he does, that this game will be electric.
Yeah, and it's going to be stressful for me and stressful. I mean, I guess it's not stressful for Commanders fans because they never they couldn't have gotten Caleb Williams if they wanted him.
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty stressful as a Bears fan. I mean, it's not going to change my tune on Caleb at all if the Commanders win this game and they outperform the Bears on
Yeah.
the offensive side of the football. It's not going to change my tune one bit on Caleb Williams, but I just don't want to go through just that toxic Twitter. And then I have a group chat with buddies who just hate Caleb Williams because he's Caleb Williams. So I just don't want to go through that at all. I'm very excited for this game, Preston. I mean, the Bears. If they win this game, I'm going to be very bought into this football team coming off a bye week. I'm very, very, very excited for Sunday at 3:30.
Now, when it gets announced that Jane Daniels is probably going to play, do you think this number is going to flip from Bears -2.5 to like Commanders -2.5, somewhere in there? Or do you think the Bears are just a better team?
The number's going to change. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-point swing though.
Maybe just to pick them. Maybe it'll be a pick 'em or something
maybe
like that.
Commanders -1 or something.
Yeah, I could get down with that. I hate to say it, but give me the Commanders, man. Jane Daniels.
I mean, I'm not gonna. Well, this is where I'm at with the Bears right now. Is their schedule's really tough coming up.
Yeah.
So I want them to win the games they should win. I want them to beat some of these good teams and play good while they're doing it. But I'm not going to get up in arms about losses unless the team looks just really bad doing it.
Yeah.
If I trust the Bears defense, so I don't think the defense is going to lose them many games this year. I mean, it's 17-game NFL season. I'm sure there's going to be one or two games where the defense has performed, but the defense has been great this year. So the offense is usually going to be a reason why they lose a game. So that's whenever I get just negative Nancy Bears fan is when that happens. So if the Commanders win, but Caleb Williams takes another step like he's done week by week by week by week, I'm not gonna. I want to win. I don't want to lose, but I can live with the result because at the end of the day, I understand how hard the Bears division is. I understand how tough the NFC is. I understand how tough their schedule is coming up. So, do I think they can make the playoffs? Yes, but I'm not going to say that's going to define the season. As long as Caleb Williams in the office is keep taking steps forward, because I'm looking at a bigger picture here with the future.
Yeah. Now I've got a fantasy question for you. Let me pull up my app real quick here. I had the unfortunate circumstances this week where I had Brandon Ayuk and DK Metcalf. So I'm down 2 receivers now. Is this the week that I start Rome Odunze?
I'm not going to say that confidently. Because Keenan Allen, I think Caleb and Keenan kind of found a little juice together against the Jaguars. That's the Jaguars, but I think they found a little juice against the Jaguars together. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet's been a big weapon in that offense. I would start him. I mean, I don't think I think there is going to be one of these days he is going to go off. He is going to.
Yeah.
I do think he's a good wide receiver. But he's definitely not that number one target right now.
Yeah. I had so Brandon Ayuk out for the season. If you guys didn't know that, tore his ACL and MCL. DK Metcalf, that grade 1 MCL sprain. The guy on my bench that I had been throwing in as like a flex, Jameson Williams, who has decided to do PEDs and get suspended for 2 games. So I lost 3 wide receivers on one of my main fantasy teams within 24 hours because 2 of them got hurt.
At the office.
It was not good. That is for sure. All right, last game we're going to talk about in the NFL, the Cowboys at the 49ers. The Niners are 4-point favorites in this one. I saw that Jordan Mason, the starting running back for the 49ers, has one of the highest broken tackle rates in the NFL. And the Dallas Cowboys are the worst team in the NFL when it comes to tackling. So I look for the 49ers to just try and run it down their throats on Sunday night.
The 49ers need a win.
Yeah.
And this game is at home. I'm with you. I like the 49ers. I like them minus the points. I don't think the Cowboys are any good. I think the 49ers need a win big time. And I think this is going to be this could be a big time ass kicking.
Yeah, they're relying on a guy who got shot in the preseason to be a wide receiver, and Brandon Jennings, who's great. I'll say that he's like a security blanket for Brock Purdy. But they're out obviously Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel.
This is what Kyle Shanahan is like. I'm a better coach than Mike McCarthy, and that's how we're gonna do this.
Yeah, 100%. You look across the sideline, and you're like, okay, Mike McCarthy's over there.
It's like, I can be playing with a college team right now.
Yeah. So it's not even close. I'll take Shanahan any day of the week over Mike McCarthy. But all right, anything else before we wrap this thing up?
Excited for that. The NBA is back, man. Very excited about that. Enjoy NBA on TNT. Enjoy it while we got it.
It is on tonight. So who's the night game? I know Knicks and Celtics are on right now.
Lakers, Timberwolves. We're probably going to see Bronny James.
Yeah, by the way, did you see that new commercial that they just did? Bronny and LeBron for Nike?
No, I didn't. I saw the tweet LeBron put out about, hey, don't be late, rookie.
Yeah, so it's that video. But
is that Nike?
Yeah. So he fills his car up with like some cereal. I don't know what it was. Yeah. And then they opens the door, all the cereal falls out. And at the very end, they pop up the swoosh logo. So I thought that was pretty funny earlier today. So
is Bronny at home?
I think he does. That's a little weird, isn't it?
Just imagine. I mean,
Being
it's
a,
'cause
a
he's Bronny effing James, so it's like he lives a great, cool,
yeah.
fantastic
I mean,
life.
his
Don't get me
dad's a
wrong.
billionaire, though. I
But
think he could
you think
afford
if you're gonna be
something.
working with your dad and stuff every day and traveling with him all the time, now you think you
I
wouldn't want to
would.
live at home.
No, I couldn't do it. He's I don't know what the term is, like maybe more sheltered than what I was, but I could not do that. Working with my father and living with my parents and all that, could not do that.
I
Could
couldn't
not
live with
do
my
that.
parents in general. I mean, I
Yeah.
love you, mom and dad, but I cannot live with you guys.
Yeah, once you get out, it's like, yeah, I like this a little bit too much.
I
I do
like
not
having
want
like
to
a
do.
living room and like my
Yeah,
own living room area and stuff, and my own like kitchen area, and not just having mom like, "Hey,
yeah,
honey,
yeah.
how's your day? Good or great?
You wake up hungover, and they're like, "What'd you do last night?" And you're like, "Don't even worry about
I heard you come
it."
in at 3 a.m."
All right, we're gonna do an NBA preview tomorrow. We'll pick who do we think is gonna go to the finals, win the finals. We'll do MVP, all that stuff
Yeah.
tomorrow at 7 p.m. But until then, everyone have a great, safe evening. Have a good one, everyone.